Hello and welcome to a short presentation brought to you by the East Sussex Healthcare Trust Digital Change and Training Department. In this section, we will be showing you 3 films to give you an introduction to some of the key clinical systems that you will use during your time working with the Trust. Please be aware, as our digital systems are continuously being developed and updated, some screens may vary slightly in the live system to those shown in these videos. The first video gives you a brief overview of eSearcher. Please note that VitalPack, which is currently used for e-observations, is in the process of being decommissioned and replaced by Nervecentre.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kate Murray. I'm an anaesthetic and intensive care consultant and I'm a clinical lead for eSearcher within the Trust. Just really want to tell you a little bit about this system, as it's probably the system that you'll use the most when you're working on the wards here as a junior doctor. It's a homegrown system. It was developed by one of our in-house software developers, a really great man called Paul Chandler, who's working within the Trust, and so it's a system that we can add to and take away from really on your feedback. It's a repository really for all the major data on your patients. So it pulls together all of your lab reports, so you'll find all of your pathology blood tests there. You'll find all correspondences there as well. So anybody who's been to outpatients and seen, say, the respiratory team, they'll have a letter in eSearcher. You can also get the results of significant investigations like echoes, and also you can access the PACS system through it. It's also really great for ordering tests and, most importantly, printing labels, which I discovered today. It's also used a lot clinically on the wards for handover. So how do I get into it? Well, there's 2 ways of getting into it. You can either use the icon on the desktop, which will almost certainly be available on every ward that you work on, or alternatively you can go through the Internet Explorer icon to get you to the Trust's website, and there you will find eSearcher has its own button on the top strip. You'll need to sign in order to ensure that you have sort of safe access.
eSearcher is where you're going to find all your patient data, all your blood test results, all your radiology results, and all your past discharge summaries. So it's a really useful database to go and search everything, and you'll use it every day on the wards. So there's 2 ways to search for a patient. You can put in your surname or some other information that you have about the patient. Or you can do a fast find and just put the X number into the corner. If you know that X number, that's probably the quickest way to do it. Once you've got the patient information, you can click on a number of different things down the side, which is going to give you different information. So probably the most important things that you're going to be looking at on a daily basis are your blood test results, so your pathology results, and that will come up with a list of all the results that they've had regarding their blood tests. So you can look at those either individually, so if you click on a result, then you can go in and see what your result is, and you can also look at a trend. So if you go to cumulative results, you can select a particular group of results. The most useful one that people use on the wards probably is going to be your gastroenterology profile, and click view. That will give you U&Es, it will give you LFTs, and it will give you FBC and CRP. And then you can see the trend going back over time. Then you've got your radiology results. So this is going to link you to all your images. If there's a report, you click on your specific radiology result and it will bring up the report for the examination in a document. If you want to see the image itself, then you need to launch PACS and that will bring you up the image. Once you're in PACS, you can click on the image that you want to view from across the top, and then if you double click on the image itself, it will give you the image a little bit larger. Other things that are useful within eSearcher, you've got patient documents. This is where you'll find all your discharge summaries or all your referrals from different specialities. Particularly useful to find, obviously, if they've recently been discharged, what's been said about them before. So we've got a discharge summary. If you double click on it, it will open up the discharge summary. And then you've got endoscopy results if the patient's had previous endoscopies, and you can open up the results for their endoscopy, including the images on Endobase. You've got similar for cardiology, where you can review their cardiology results and their echocardiographies. And then you've got a link to the observation charts and vital pack data. Okay, so you can get all their use scores through the eSearcher system as well. Other important things or useful things, inpatient episodes, if you want to know how many times a patient's been in hospital recently, how frequently they attend, if they've got any appointments coming up, outpatient appointments. And then finally, just a bit of housekeeping, if you want to print off any labels for referrals or any investigations that you want to do, you can print the labels off from here. So some other useful functions across the top here, you've got your ward lists. If you don't know the patient's X number and you want to search for a patient on a particular ward, then click on ward list, drop down box, select your ward, and then it will come up with a list of the patients on that ward. And then you can select the patient the same way as you would otherwise. And then my lists. This is useful for weekend handover. So if you go to the drop down box, there's a number of different lists. The most useful one is if you're on the weekends and you want to know what patients you need to review for the weekend. The general medicine handover, select the correct date, and it will bring you up a list of all the patients that need to be reviewed, along with a brief summary of what needs to be done. You can also add your patients to this list. So we're currently with our dummy patient, and if you just add selected patient, then you fill in who you want to review the patient, what ward you're on, and briefly a reason why you want them to be reviewed. Other useful things in my lists, previously reviewed patients. If you want to go back and see who you've reviewed, or you can't remember the name of the previous patient that you've reviewed, then you can find it in there. eSearcher is actually quite easy to use once you get used to it, but you will get some training on the wards when you're doing your shadowing time, and there's lots of opportunities to ask people to help you. There's the IT help desk that can also help you navigate your way through it.
The second video will give you an insight into Evolve EDM. This system is used by the Trust for electronic document management.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kate Murray. I'm an anaesthetic and intensive care consultant, and I am clinical lead for the Evolve electronic document management system. What I'd like to do today is give you a quick overview of the system and tell you what's useful about it and how to access it. So first and foremost, what is Evolve? Well, Evolve is our electronic document management system that we introduced into the Trust about a year ago. We had over 1 million sets of paper records for patients. We were running out of storage space, and what we wanted to do was to move those paper records into a digital format. It's been a bit of a transition, and obviously there's been an awful lot of change for our clinicians moving from paper to digital, but we believe that it's a system that's going to work well both now and in the future. So how do we get into Evolve? Well, there are 3 ways of getting into Evolve. I think the easiest is via the Evolve icon, which you can see here on the desktop. You'll find that on the desktop of pretty much every computer across the Trust, and in particular the ward-based computers will certainly have it. So you click on that, and it will get you into the front sheet of Evolve. The alternative is to go through eSearcher. I've already logged into eSearcher, but you would need to log into eSearcher and get the patient record that you would like up. Once you get into eSearcher, you're able to click on Patient Documents and you will get this screen up. This is a dummy patient, but you'll see here in the corner a blue sign which says Electronic Notes. If you click on that, that will take you through into the Evolve patient record. The third way of getting into Evolve is to go through the FastFind navigation system that you would see on the Trust website. So here's the intranet coming up. If you come through to Fast Links to Clinical Systems, you can click on that. And if you go down to E and find Evolve, you can also get into the system that way. Once you've logged into Evolve, this is the screen that you will get up, which allows you to do a patient search. I'm in the training system at the moment, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at a patient that I've looked at before. And you can do this by hovering over this icon here on the right, and it will show you the patient's records that you have previously looked at. So we're going to go into this one, training record 006. And this is the view that you will get when you first come into the system. So this is the standard tab view, and it allows you to see the original notes very easily. So the original notes, when they were scanned really as we found them and without a clear specialty tab. And so one of the things that you're going to need to do is to be able to search this record to find the part of the record that you are interested in. The other view that's really helpful is to go into the specialty view, which you can get here on the left-hand side. So the specialty view here allows you to see new Evolve records. So we can see this patient has 8 cardiology records, has 4 general surgery ones, and has 5 rheumatology ones. You also have access to the original notes there as well. So if you're more comfortable in this screen view, then you can move into that as soon as you get into the patient record. So how do we search the original notes? This is probably the thing you're going to need to do most, and let's have a go at doing that. Let's search the record to find something that we'd like, and I'm looking for the endocrinology chapter. So I'm going to click on this icon here on the right, which is looks like a magnifying glass, and that's our search functionality. And I'm going to put endocrinology into it and press search. And what I can see here is I've got 3 items have come up which show me exactly which chapters to look in the original notes. So we'll click on this one, and here we go. I'm in the endocrinology and diabetes clinical record. There's various things you can do. You can switch to a thumbnail view, which gives you an overview of all of the pages within that record. We've also got a couple more, so there are more chapters to look at. What if we want to bookmark this? So I've found the thing I'm looking for now, and I want to keep it. I don't want to have to search again next time I come into this record. And this is really handy. So our surgical teams find this really helpful. You can bookmark it by hovering over this icon on the right hand side, and it says bookmark this page. So we're going to click on that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to name it endocrinology, and it can either be public or private. So this is just for me, so a private record. This bookmark will only be visible if I have logged into Evolve. However, if I wanted to make it public, it would mean that this bookmark would be visible to everybody who used the record. So we're going to save that. And then if I want to find that bookmark, we come back into this view here, and I can click on bookmarks. It's been marked there, and a little record of when it was created. So let's go back to the tab view. We'll search for one more thing. We're going to search for a discharge summary. So again, this might be something that you're interested in. A lot of our patients coming into hospital, the information on the discharge summary is really valuable, particularly about their last acute admission. So we're going to go back into the search functionality. I'm going to get rid of that one, and I'm going to put, in inverted commas, discharge summary. So this will look for the phrase rather than just the individual words. And here we go. We've got discharge summaries here from cardiology, so let's have a look at this. And again, if you want to keep hold of this, you can bookmark this part of the record as well. Obviously, this is just a very brief overview, and if you would like some further training on this, then we are providing that through the ESR system, which you can access through the Trust website. If you'd like some further one-to-one training, or there's elements of the system that you would like some help with, then we do have a change and training team, and you can access them via email. We hope you're going to enjoy using the system, and if you do have any issues or problems, then please do get in contact with us.
The final video is an overview of Nerve Centre. Currently, the Trust uses both bed management and EOBS modules. The following video will focus on EOBS.
This is the short product overview about the use of Nerve Centre to record electronic observations. To record a patient's observations, the patient is selected from a patient list and the patient details will then be displayed. Entering observations is as simple as tapping on the observation field and then tapping on the default observation model suitable for your patient. The observation entry screen will list all of the observation parameters. These can be configured to be mandatory or non-mandatory as indicated by the blue dots. This ensures that all patients have a consistent set of observation data recorded. The entry of OBS is designed to be simple and efficient. By tapping on each parameter, data can be quickly entered. Each data entry is RAG rated and scored, and if the observation is outside of a normal range, clinical alert messages can be triggered to display. This gives an early indication to the clinician that the patient may be deteriorating. Once all the mandatory observations are entered, an accurate news score is displayed and is ready to be submitted. Depending on the patient's news score, an appropriate advisory message is displayed to further support the clinical decisions. Nerve Centre facilitates the escalation of the deteriorating patient to the appropriate clinician or clinical team. This is based on the most recent news score. All this is possible without the nurse having to leave the patient's bedside, with assurance that the relevant clinical team have received the escalation message. This message is called a task, and it includes all the relevant information about the deteriorating patient and allows the receiving clinician to access the patient's clinical data and observations charts immediately. A patient that requires a more specific type of monitoring, such as a chronic respiratory patient or a patient having a blood transfusion, are managed by the use of special circumstance models. This allows for additional parameters specific to the condition or circumstance to be recorded, scored and escalated appropriately. Observation charts can be reviewed on either the mobile device or a desktop. On the mobile device, charts default to a grid view, but can easily be displayed in the graph format, allowing trends to be easily identified. When OBS are becoming due, the clinician responsible for the patient will receive an audible and visual alert, and if the OBS become overdue, the nurse in charge will receive a notification of this. If necessary, charts can also be printed out from the desktop view. In summary, the Nerve Centre observation module ensures observations are taken in a timely and appropriate manner. It allows the deteriorating patient to be escalated easily and reliably, and all clinicians involved in the patient care are aware of the patient's situation in real time.
If you have any questions about these systems, further details can can be found on the Trust extranet, or contact the Change and Training team via email esht-tr.ittraining@nhs.net.